We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the UQ vs. QUT Rumble. Now, this show match has kind of been an annual tradition at various events throughout the years. Sometime, some way, we always get these two universities to do battle against each other at some stage of the year. My name is Max. Joining me is Marley as we get ready for this year's iteration of it here at the EKKA. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think so. This is the long, grudge match that we have between QUT and UQ.
Yeah.
The rivalry between the two major universities.
And it's been an interesting one as well. When it began, it was more UQ favored, although over the past couple years it's kind of gone back over to QUT. And now we're going to see where we sort of finish this one out today. Pick and bans has already been done, so hopefully we should be able to jump over that to show you what champions have been selected. I think that's a lot more interesting than looking at us right now. But soon we will get into this game. The game, of course, being League of Legends. Probably should have mentioned that first, but today it's all about the League of Legends. For those who don't know what it is, it's a MOBA. And for those who don't know what a MOBA is, well, Marley, why don't you explain that one?
Oh, okay, so basically a MOBA is like a top-down view where you're viewing your characters in a lane going against the other team, like trying to claim objectives and working as a team.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah,
I think a better way of looking at it, here's how I would like to describe it, right? It's a 5-on-5 game where you're sort of controlling one individual character from an overhead view, and the basic objective is to destroy your enemy's base by fighting through waves of minions and structures that do damage back, and of course the opponents on the other side as well. All the champions you select have specific roles, specific abilities, and the team that works best together as 5, utilizing their own character's strengths and minimizing their own character's weaknesses, tends to be the team that wins out. Granted, there's a lot more than that going on.
Yep.
We'll kind of explain it as we go. It's going to look confusing. It's going to be a bit overwhelming if it's your first time seeing this game, but I can assure you it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. It is a very fun game. I've been playing it for 2 years now, and I'm actually quite enjoy it.
Yeah, it is a fun one, so hopefully we will be getting into this matchup shortly. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to show you the champions before we get into it, or maybe we will. Maybe we will. What are we bringing up? Oh, we're just looking at our schedule right now. That's what we're looking at here. So, yeah, QUT is going to be taking on the University of Queensland. QUT will be the blue side when we get into this game. University of Queensland will be in red. They're going to be the two teams, again, who will be doing battle. It will be a best of 3 throughout the afternoon, so the first team to win 2 of these games. And you might be thinking a best of 3, that feels really, really short. Rest assured, each of these games, they last about anywhere between 25 to 45 minutes. So you're getting your afternoon's worth of entertainment here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so on that note, we will be getting into it shortly. Again, I do apologize for those of you who actually understand League of Legends. It doesn't look like we're going to be showing you the picks and bans live. We're going to probably be jumping straight into the game as soon as the spectator delay allows us to get into it. We'll quickly run down, I suppose, the champions on each side. For QUT, it's going to be a Kled top, Lee Sin jungle, Lissandra in the mid, and a Sivir Karma bot lane. For the side of UQ, it's Gnar in the top side, Jarvan in the jungle, Orianna in mid, and Jinx and Lulu playing in the bot. And I'm just going to go straight to you, Marley. Between these two team comps, which one are you liking more?
Oh, that's kind of tough. So both junglers are kind of early junglers. They're good for ganking, and both bot lanes have very carry-heavy champions. So the Sivir Karma is going to be very strong because you just have those shields, but you also have a Jinx Lulu, which Jinx, once she gets a kill, she just snowballs off of it.
Yeah, we'll see how it does play out. It is interesting how I would say UQ is almost more bot side focused in this one, where I feel like QUT has a few more options that they can explore with the competition they put together. Granted, both these teams are going to be looking to get that bot side ahead. That is where they will hopefully be able to pull things off as we look to be going into game very, very shortly. Just give me 1 second. That's interesting. It's not letting me see the summoner names. That I've never, not sure on that one, but we'll do our best as we go through this. So yeah, the blue side again is the QUT. The red side is the University of Queensland, and straight away we're looking at UQ. They've set up that line of scrimmage along the river. You can see that on the mini-map. Meanwhile, for QUT, well, they're invading as a group of 5. Unfortunately, they won't be able to spot out Jenner by Jane, who will be playing Nar and is able to walk back safely.
And there's definitely, yep. And as we can see, they also took the top ward, so Nar won't have any vision early in the early game. So he's kind of vulnerable to ganks from the Lee Sin.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, the argument for that one is like anyone, I suppose, could be vulnerable to those Lee Sin ganks. It's all about your wave management and whether or not that Lee Sin will be able to find ways through. I am going to be curious, though, on Graves' pathing. Graves, of course, being Jarvan. That's not confusing. Just because typically you would expect the Lee Sin to have a faster clear than the Jarvan. So it's kind of up to the Jarvan almost to, like, perhaps sacrifice a camp to either match or just be willing to play opposite side. In this situation, though, you can see the junglers are going to be each starting on the top side of the map, meaning that if, you know, Graves is going to be keeping pace with this Lee Sin, they might have to sacrifice that Raptor cap in particular, which they do. You can see on the mini-map. J4 going straight to the bot side.
Yeah. It looks like he also might want to possibly gank bot as bot's pushing towards red side.
Not sure I would go that far yet. I mean, at this stage, you're just going ahead and collecting.
It's also a Sivir.
Also looks like we have a little bit of a weird bug. Okay.
What?
I have figured out one of the problems. That's all right. We're all good. Yeah. So, as we are kind of moving along, I'm just going to let you take over real quick. I will be right back. Yeah, you're on your own. Have fun.
Oh, Joyce. We also do see that red side does have a ward on the bot red buff. So we'll be able to, the red side will be able to see when Lee Sin decides to go for it. Oh, and it looks like Jarvan's coming in for the gank. I think blue team's caught out here. And yeah, Karma goes down. Oh, and first blood for Jinx. That's really good. Let's see. Lee Sin's on his red. And cleared out the ward. Oh, and Nar's not looking too good. Let's see. Looks like Jarvan.
Alex, let me do.
Oh.
I got.
Yeah. We have top pushing in. And we have mid pushing in. And bot lane recalling. Yeah. Mid looks like it has the CS lead as well. We have a TP from Nar top. Ooh.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, apologies for that. I'm back. We're all well and good, and hopefully we could be able, there we go. Just get a little bit going on right there. But into this matchup right now, and nothing too crazy, at least at the start, by the looks of it. I mean, obviously we saw that first blood down before on the bot side, which is really, really good for the University of Queensland. New Nai on that Jinx. Jinx is a bot lane, what I like to call a hybrid carry. That's kind of what has been described in the past. And essentially there's someone where if they're able to get a few early kills, get that gold advantage, they can completely take over a game.
Yeah, they can definitely, especially since she has a Lulu that can peel for her. And a Jarvan as well. The Jarvan ult, she just does a lot of splash damage with her rockets.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, when you get the items going, the rockets that come through, they have that splash damage. They have that large effect, and then they can just absolutely tear through pretty much anyone. As we do move back down to this bot side right now, we can see Graves having a little peek, whether or not they get involved. It depends if they want to kind of commit to a tower dive. I don't really like that idea. I think it's a lot easier to kind of set up for a dragon play in this type of situation.
Definitely.
It doesn't look like they had the vision of the Lee Sin, however, might not really matter. I mean, Graves is still unknown, and as that wave bounces, there could be an opportunity here.
Yeah. But it looks like they're playing it kind of cautiously. They don't know if he's there or not.
It is. QUT is playing it safe. Jinx's Fishbones has to be a little bit careful, though Graves might try and force the issue. Sanic was stepping forward, gets a little bit of poke in their face. Not enough to warrant anything crazy, though. Again, that goal, it is going to be the dragon, and that's where UQ rotates.
Yeah. And both mid lane and bot lane have priority for dragon as well, so it's looking very good for them.
As they do head on up, University of Queensland will be collecting that first Ocean Drake. I doubt it's going to be contested, at least not at this stage. You can see just on that mini-map down below, QUT was having a think about it. Frosty actually kind of king a little bit of poke. No one fully commits for it, and in the end, University of Queensland goes ahead and collects that first objective.
Yeah.
As we keep on right now.
Looks like they're going to try and contest Scuttle.
Yeah, we might see that.
Oh,
Early
no.
smite for Graves does let that one get away, and now we have a bit of a re-engage again, just in that pathway up to the jungle. No one really want to go too hard, or actually you would think that until we see Haza HD charging on in. Flag, no drag, connecting this time. That means it's going to be a flash out of Luxena. However, Haza's going to flash forward as well, and that will be QUT finally getting retribution for the first blood.
Yeah.
Alrighty, as we keep on playing this one through, and QUT
The kills aren't right.
just continuing to, as Graves starting to sort of push back right there against Elise. Frosty, not going to win out that poke at the end of the day. So 1-1 in terms of that kill count right now. Small gold advantage for the University of Queensland. They were able to get that first Ocean Drake. Now we're seeing the junglers go at it as this Lee Sin trying to go for a bit of a buff steal.
Yeah.
Not sure whether or not they're going to pull it off. It does actually look like they were able to grab it, so nice little play right there from the QUT side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Not much else going on. Bot lane's just pushing in.
I think there's a, I would argue there's a fair bit going on right now. You have a top side that's pushing in, which is kind of what allowed that jungle invade to happen in the first place. And that's been kind of a reoccurring theme, I feel like, in this game. Haza has been consistently kind of pushing in Jenner. And because of that, that's why we were seeing more of those Kled roams. Granted, you take Kled for the top lane to be that bully, to get those roams back down either in the mid lane or the jungle and trying to open up that top half of the map. And that's something that QUT has been doing very efficiently so far in this game. Gnar will become more effective later into this one as we go. As soon as we get maybe more of those team fights, that's where we can see sort of Gnar respond, especially when they go mega like we're seeing right here. But as it stands at the moment, yeah, you can argue the pace has slowed down a little bit just because there's no real neutral objective that either team really wants to fight for, and the junglers have been on the opposite side of the map. Eventually, though, something's going to break, right?
Yeah. It looks like mid's pushing in, and Oriana's going to back, so hopefully we get to see an item off of that.
Yeah, we'll see where we go from this point. Oriana, of course, resetting. That's Luxana. Just going to go ahead and didn't really get any completed items on that reset, which is a little bit unfortunate, actually, for the UQ side.
She's still got a Dark Seal, though.
Yeah, that's not too surprising. I mean, again, when you kind of opt for the control mages, like both Faux Elise as well as Luxana are doing, you can actually kind of go sometimes for that Dark Seal just because it's a lot easier to play it safe, and you won't really lose those stacks, plus the base sort of mana regen that I believe you get from it. It is helpful in that sense. So I think it's fine. I have no problems with the Dark Seal pickup. We'll see, though, if that Oriana does wind up getting targeted, but when you also look at how Luxana, how comfortable they've been in lane in and of itself, I think it's a fine pickup.
Yeah. Yeah, their only death was really to the roaming Kled. They got caught out with no mana.
Yep.
Oh.
As Graves is going to connect with the Flag and Drag. That's going to get a flash out of Frosty. Caught in the Cataclysm. Graves will secure the kill. Jinx's Fishbones has to be run away to the safety of the jungle, but now 3 members to 1. It's not really too much, unfortunately, that UQ can kind of pick up on the tail end of that fight.
If you look at mid, it looks like Lee Sin setting up for a possible gank on the Orianna as well.
Yeah, Luxana could be jumped upon, and we see them
there we
actually
go.
making the move on the mini-map as
Yeah.
nice play. The Frozen Tomb into the kick cover. Luxana nearly was able to turn it back. Just a couple autos away. Well played by the QUT side.
Yeah. Oh.
As Hazard was unable to really get anything there. Super Mega Death Rocket from down below just kind of poking away, it looks like, at a bit of that mid-side push coming from the QUT. Oh! Hello, Jenner. Just jumping all over Hazard right there for a free pickup.
I missed that. Oh, no.
You missed it.
Yeah, I was looking mid because I was wondering if Rift was going to get it.
Unfortunate there. Fortunately, we saw that on the stream as we do continue along on the bot side of the map. Frosty can only do so much right now, especially with that wave pushed. I mean, you have the Infernal Drake pair. Someone has to make a play for it.
Definitely. Yeah. Jinx and Lulu had to reset, though, due to just the Sivir pokes. They're so strong.
Yep. I mean, yeah, they were pushed in, had to reset, but unfortunately for QUT, not able to capitalize on that, not able to jump all over that dragon. So it actually is going to be dragon priority over to the UQ side, it looks like. And this could turn into an eventual win con for the red team. They haven't really had the lanes go entirely their way. So far, I think if we're looking at the laning side of things, outside of the mid lane, it's been pretty strong as Haza's just going to charge right into the wall, still going to commit to the tower dive. Kled will be scared away. Jenner still far away from going mega, yet is bullying Haza back into the lane. Flash forward. Haza getting super aggressive. That's going to be flash for flash. Where's Scarl? Not back in time. And that's going to be a kill secured by good old Jenner. Meanwhile, the rest of UQ, they're looking at Dragon.
Yeah. There's 4 on Dragon as well. And looks like Lee Sin just got there. You may see him.
Flag and Dragon to Cataclysm. Frosty gets caught out, and that's going to be a kill secured by Neo9. And this foursome is just an angry knuckle of death just powering through that QUT team. The Dragon's not even going to scare him away. Boomerang Blake attempt trying to steal it off of him, and it does cause the Dragon to reset for a little bit. Late steal attempt is stopped. Flag and Drag over the wall. Graves is offended that, that this Lee Sin would even dare try to steal it, yet Graves may have gone in a bit too deep. Either way, the rest of UQ are there to back him up, and he'll be able to walk away safely.
Definitely. Did you see that the Lissandra went into the Jarvan ult?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's what it is. I mean, you got to go in somewhere, right? Why not go into the center of the cataclysm of the enemy team?
I mean, yeah.
As well, you know, maybe they're taking that advice a little too literally right now. A bit of a jungle dive, yet it could be Graves that gets caught out. Jungler tries to flash over the wall, but Lee Sin's right on them, and that's going to be a kill secured to Foe Elise. Jenner by Jane arriving too little too late, and now this Gnar is going to get bullied as well. That said, the tower is the main priority. It will be the first brick to fall, as Jenner is able to go back to the safety of their own tower. Sanic super low means we won't see a push forward by the UQ side. Instead, they're going to get that bot lane tower. So second brick going to fall in favor of the red side, but Haza up on the top side of the map right now is getting pretty close to finding their own tower. Actually gets scared away by Jenner.
Yeah. But that tower is really close to coming down.
It should only be a wave or two away.
Yeah.
As we see Haza.
I mean, with how he's been playing, I don't expect it to last much longer.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to, as I said. Just a wave or two, you might think, if it were 3 or 4 minutes ago. However, at this stage of the game, you know, Jenner's level 11, has the completed Trinity Force. I'm not sure Haza actually win these trades, so yeah, we're going to see Haza go ahead and reset, has teleport available. Might need to use it to go back into lane, which would be a little bit unfortunate for the QUT side, because then that's sort of more dragon pressure they're going to be losing out from in about 3 minutes' time.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a lot of smaller advantages starting to go more in UQ's way, despite QUT perhaps having the stronger start.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Lissandra doesn't even have her item completed.
No, yeah, no completed item. Well, no completed item on Luxana either.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious right now. We're just going to take a look at the gold situation. I mean, they should be finishing their first items on their next back right now when we take a look at that gold. But the big one that's standing out to me looking at this gold is actually the 1.2k gold advantage of New Nai over Jinx's Fishbones. That's what's going to be critical in these team fights later. And I think that's going to be a big reason why UQ are feeling more bold and more ambitious to try and make plays. Because their main damage dealer is ahead, that means in a longer fight, they should be the one who comes out on top, assuming they can protect Neonai, which they have the tools, Sanic on the Lulu, which is that Enchantress support, which is pretty much designed to enable Neonai to take over even more of this game. I mean, UQ's in a very strong position.
Definitely. And especially if they wait for the Jarvan engage with his ult, it's just going to be clean.
It's not just the Jarvan. What's the second part of that? We can put this one together.
I mean...
I'm putting you on the spot right now. No. I want you to... What is the dream ultimate? What is the dream combination right now for this UQ side? Trivia time for everybody.
I guess Gnar.
No!
Gnar.
Wrong! No. It's the ball delivery system. The Cataclysm Shockwave. Orianna.
Oh. True. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really seen the Orianna around with the Jarvan.
Fair enough. It's like, I feel that's league. This is a learning experience for everyone as well, though, in this audience today, I think is the best way to put that. But yes, no. Jarvan is one of the greatest ball delivery systems because of that Cataclysm. It traps everyone in there. The Shockwave comes on through. Like, it's absolutely insane. And it's why that mid-jungle duo can be so potent as we are playing along right now.
I think it's more so just my pessimism, just seeing the Orianna mid with the not with the Jarvan.
What do you have against Orianna mid?
No, it's just she's never around the Jarvan. That's why I'm like,
Yeah, because Jarvan's been bot side helping this Jinx get ahead, but once we get to the team fights, I think it's going to be golden at that stage.
Yeah. I don't know. It just might be my games that I had where it just never happens, so I give up hope on it.
What did you say before coming into this one? I'm calling you out right now. Master level.
What?
You said you had master level training.
No.
That was the exact quote I was told.
Yes, but I've also been told to not really depend on others in solo queue.
I mean, you know what? That's good advice. I'm not going to deny that one. So there you have it. In order to hit Master in League of Legends, which is like the second highest rank, just never trust your teammates. Never rely on them. What is synergy? Just play Yasuo and run it down mid. Was that the conclusion?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's always Yasuo.
It's always.
League humor. Something that only we understand. 18 minutes into this game right now, the University of Queensland still, I would have to say, could be in the lead. If we're looking at the straight-up gold advantage, though, it's actually favoring QUT. A majority of that has been on this Lee Sin. So we'll see if that will continue to be the case. I mean, at the moment, you can see Lee Sin just kind of actually gets credit for the tower going down because of the Rift Herald that was placed. But the main focus, it's going to be over this Cloud Drake right now. Both teams being geared up for the 5v5. The two champions you want to watch out for, Jinx's Fishbones and Neonai. They're going to be the main damage dealers. They're going to be the ones who get protected. And Neonai thrown in with a great play by that Lee Sin. That was a fantastic insect, and that wins the fight for QUT. The Dragon, that will be the reward.
Aww. It's so sad.
Sad?
Well, I mean, for
sad?
For UQ, it's sad.
That was one of the best jungle plays I've seen. We're talking about how Neonai needs to be protected. That has to be the focus. And sorry for getting this name wrong. I think it's Sai Lofu. I've just been calling them the Lee Sin because they wrote their name in Lee speak, so I have no idea what it means. But that was one of the best jungle plays I have seen in a good long while.
I mean, definitely, yeah. You got the damage dealer out of the fight.
Won the fight in one big blow. Like,
yeah.
That was it. We said at the start of this game coming into this one, this Jinx has to be the carry, has to be that focal point of UQ. QUT hones in on that, takes them out. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. Where was Gnar during that?
Gnar was in the front. What could have Gnar done?
I don't know. I was just wondering where Gnar was.
Gnar was there. Gnar was in that front line. Nar can't stop an insect play.
Fair enough, yeah.
What do you have against Nar? What did Nar do to you?
Solo laner mentality. Just
Wait, what role do you play? Where are you? What lane are you normally playing?
I'm normally in support.
Wait. So you've been told don't rely on anyone, play for yourself, solo carry the game, but play the role that's there to help everyone else in support and help everyone else out.
Yeah.
That seems a little contradictory.
It's just how it is. It's just everyone else plays for themselves. So you just.
What support are you playing? And if you say Yuumi, who is the most dependent on other champions, I'm going to have a word with your coach. That's also, so who is it?
It actually just varies. I just play whatever.
But who's the most?
Right now it's been Renata.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
That checks out. I would have also accepted Swain. Either way.
Oh, yeah, Swain, definitely. But
or Brand.
Brand was when I first started.
Brand's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, quote-unquote support, right? I'm supporting the team by doing the most damage. As we are continuing to watch along in this game. Look, after that last fight, QUT now in a much better spot right now. They identified the threat, they took it out, they won the first team fight, and they might be able to, well, look for a few more. I mean, this Lee Sin has definitely been, I would say, the strongest member of the QUT side.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying that because of jungle bias, 100% kill participation, single-handedly won that last team fight, kind of broke up the dragon chain that we were catching out before. If QUT is going to win this game, they're going to need more plays like that before. I mean, Nai is still going to be that big threat in any sort of engagement, but with the blueprints laid out on how to win these team fights, again, it's kind of back on UQ right now to do a better job of protecting Nai in those sort of engages.
Yeah, definitely. I think majority of the kills really have been just catching out people or, like, not really major team fights. Because all the fights that they were having was just like 3 QUT members where there was like 4.
I would say that last one was a 5v5. It just, ended after one pick because there wasn't much UQ could do without the Jinx. Either way, it's Baron time for QUT, and this is, I believe, going to catch UQ a little bit off guard just because, I mean, why would they be expecting a 23-minute Baron, yet here we are, the damage is there. All you need is that Kraken Slayer and that Phantom Dancer on Jinx's Fishbones, and that should be able to help bring it down, or will it? Actually,
a
little bit of a late sort of siege coming through right now. You can see Graves is going to go for the steal, tries to get the smite, does not get it, despite the Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown. Your bias is showing.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. Well, I was mentioning, like, QUT just has a better team fight, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Let's look at it. What makes their team fight stronger?
Just how they've been positioning themselves.
Okay, so it's the players, not the team fight. Okay, yeah, that I would agree.
Yeah. Because, it's just in the actual team fights, QUT seems to be the one winning. But it's when UQ catches people out that they tend to win. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of UQ's kills so far this game have been coming from picks. The only sort of 5v5 situation that we saw so far kind of got ended with a great play by that Lee Sin. And since then, now with the Baron, I do imagine QUT is going to really start to accelerate this game. So we'll be excited to see where they can go from here as they're looking to get themselves more set up on the bot half of the map. Not too surprising with Dragon spawning unless, well, right now, actually. Yeah. Dragon now has sort of hit that map, and that's going to be the second Cloud Drake going over to this team in blue. So 2 Cloud Drakes, a Baron, should be able to start knocking on the door of UQ's main base, and it's going to be up to UQ to make that play to really try to disrupt this team, and often that comes from vision. Yeah. And that is something that I think UQ has been doing an okay job on. I'd give it a B-. They've been keeping their own jungle set up quite nicely. Frequently, they have had some sort of vision on the entranceways to their jungle, but they've never been able to get those deep, proactive wards.
Yeah. I mean, they can't with how much QUT.
Elise having a little peek at something. Won't be able to find the fight just yet. Winds up not engaging for now.
But yeah, see what I mean? The Orianna's top, whereas there's like
Yes.
a lot of stuff happening mid.
No, because you
without the
want the
Jarvan.
Orianna in the side lane right now to try and get as much farm and XP as possible to level up.
Yeah, but you were also talking about the ball
In
delivery.
a 5v5 team fight, yes, that's where that combo comes in. But we're not in the 5v5 team fight right now.
But they were all sieging mid.
It was 3 versus 3 in mid.
It was 4.
What, do you want Orianna to go down there and just leave Haza alone in the top side?
No, that's not what I mean. but-
what?
No, it's never mind. It's just, yeah.
I mean, you could do that. You could just Jenner up Jane. I'm on the top side. Well, now it's a 4v4 down in this mid lane as well, and I should expect to see one of the top siders roaming down, and it actually is looking like Haza would be the one who would get there first. Again, that charge is available. Look, the big reason why you can put the Orianna on the sideline is because the teleport is up. So if a fight does break out, it's really easy to teleport in. Boom, you're just as involved as before.
Fair enough.
At that same token, you need to cover the split push as well, and you want to do it with someone who is going to be one of your carries later in this game. Charge does come through, and it's actually going to be Foe Elise who gets caught out early, has to go golden. It might be buying enough time. Graves goes golden as well. Foe Elise unable to escape as Jenner by Jane tanks so much for the Cataclysm to come through. It caught 3 and burns a lot of flashes, but the damage was not quite there. UQ only picks up 1 for 1.
Oh, that karma is so low as well. Well, was.
Still is low. We'll be having to head back to the fountain, but yeah. Interesting play. I feel like that was QUT trying to force the issue. It was Haza who initially was the one who charged in. That Cataclysm did come through, though. Did burn a lot of flashes. Flash gone on Frosty. Flash gone on Jinx's Fishbone. Foe Elise. The Lee Sin as well. 4 flashes burned, it felt like. Well, 3 from one ability by that stage. Foe Elise had already fallen. Just a little bit disorganized by QUT. Foe Elise the only one who really followed up with Haza. And if they're going to go for those sort of ambitious plays like that, everyone needs to be on that same page, fully committed.
Yeah.
As we see Neo Nai going to go ahead and sort of bring themselves back right now, and we'll hopefully get some items in their favor. We'll be looking to continue on. Down on the bot side, Jinx's Fishbone collects a red buff. Preparation for what could actually turn into be a neutral objective fight in the near future. Hopefully we'll get there somewhat soonish as they start to make their way back into the jungle as well. I doubt this pick will actually happen because, again, UQ has been doing a good job of keeping their own jungle warded, but despite being up 1 kill, we're looking at about a 6k gold difference. A majority of that actually between the 2 junglers right now. Graves just not really keeping up, it looks like, with this Lee Sin. Similarly on that top side, has a good 2k over Jenner by Jane. So the front line is where we're seeing the difference in this gold, and that means it's going to be that much easier for QUT to sort of protect the back line, protect Jinx's Fishbones, or Foe Elise once we get to our next fight.
Yeah. And Lee Sin even has Death Dance, so it's just going to be even harder to kill him.
I feel like that's essential, though, to pick up
Yeah.
in that mid game. The Death Stance, again, providing a little bit more sustainability. As another tower falls, all of the lane towers gone from UQ. The only ones left standing are in the base itself. In response, only 1 tower on the QUT side has fallen up to this stage. Both Baron and Dragon respawning in that next minute, which means we're more likely than not going to see another fight very soon.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if they're going to try and contest Baron, or try and take Baron themselves, or if they're going to try Dragon.
Well, you'd think they're going to force the fight on one of the 2. If I am QUT, the Baron has to be the goal. Like, I feel that's got to be the play. Whether or not you can see Dragon for it, I'm not sure. If you're UQ, you'd have to be thinking we cannot afford to give up this Baron, because that could be the game in and of itself. For those who don't know, Baron is that giant purple worm you see in the top left hand of the screen. That gives your minions extra pushing power in the lanes, which is kind of like a tug-of-war. And so when you take that, it's a lot easier to advance in the enemy territory. And when you're nearing endgame, sometimes you kind of need it for that final push. That's something that QUT could be thinking about as they start to make their way up towards that Baron pit.
It seems they're backing off a bit.
Yeah. As this is happening, take a look at where Haza is as well. Down on the map, Haza has actually gone ahead and it's going to work on that Cloud Drake, and probably will be able to secure it without getting picked up right now, as eventually the Dragon will fall. Jenner steps forward, trying to catch out Jinx's Fishbone, isn't able to find them, as the Baron the dragon is secured by Haza and by Sai Lofu, and that's, you know, more objectives going in favor of the QUT side.
Yeah.
We are continuing with this one. Blue side just going ahead and making sure to just clean up all of the farm right now against UQ, not allowing them any of those sort of jungle camps whatsoever. For UQ, it's still a little bit that turtle game. They're just hoping to get themselves itemed up, get ready for the next team fight. It should be worth noting, 3 items have been completed for Neonai. So you have an Infinity Edge, a Phantom Dancer, the Kraken Slayer, and a QSS. This is where you're going to want to fight right now if you're the University of Queensland, especially with the GA now finished for Graves, which will enable Graves to continue to be that initiator and perhaps get less punished. UQ is geared up for one last stand, one last fight. They need to win this next exchange because if that Baron goes over to QUT, that could be the beginning of the end.
Yeah, and it also looks like Oriana's working towards Zanya's as well, but opted for the arms guard instead of the stopwatch.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, at this stage, I guess that little extra armor probably is going to be helpful just because you're against that Sivir who has the ability to hit damage you even if you're sitting on the back line. And when you look at the QUT side, they're not as bursty.
Yeah.
So I kind of actually like the Seeker's Arm Guard in this situation over the Stopwatch because it's less likely that you're going to be focused by Silofu. Instead, you would kind of want, you know, a Stopwatch or something on Neonai instead. That's kind of been where the focus has been. So, yeah, you can get away with the Seekers in this situation. I think that itemization is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
In the end, though, you want that Stopwatch. Like,
yeah.
The Hourglass is what you're building towards, and you're going to want that.
Definitely.
Either way. As we see, Haza going back in on Jenner. A solo kill here could actually be very, very dangerous. Haza has the damage, follows through after the flash, and gets it done. As this is happening, Baron has been started by QUT, the University of Queensland. They're going to have to try to stop this one, but they need to be careful because Haza is going to be shoving on that bot side at the same time, and QUT, they're thinking, you know what? We can play this game of chicken. The longer we keep UQ up here with us, the more damage Haza is going to be able to do on the opposite end of the map, and you can see UQ aware they're going to try to run away. But that said, though, the backs are being stopped. Graves looks for a flag and drag engage, might be getting caught out, but Full Lease went way too deep and has to go golden and stay alive. Graves has their GA popped. It's up above. Luxana is found, tried to get kicked back to the team, but instead it's Sai Lofu who's actually on the wrong end of town, and now the chase is on. UQ should be able to find the jungler, should be able to pick this one up eventually, going golden to buy as much time as possible. Eventually Sai Lofu does fall. As this is happening, though, look at the base. Haza going to town, has already destroyed one of the Nexus towers. Frosty's going to be found. It's a double kill to Neonai, and in the base itself, Haza actually is able to find Luxana. Jenner by Jane, though, is the healthier of the two, should be able to scare this Kled away. UUT almost just won the game with the backdoor.
Oh, and the Kled got Scarl back, so he has that extra
No
health.
way. Haza will be able to pick this one up. Actually gets the kill secured, but needs to pull out of the base because Baron is getting picked up by the side of UQ. And there just wasn't enough time, unfortunately, for Haza to end this game. So Baron is secured. The base is nearly broken open, but UQ still has a pulse.
They do. Let's see if they can actually benefit off of Baron and try and push some of those waves back.
They have a lot of pushing they need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, only one tower has fallen thus far, and that in and of itself is not really a great place to be for the University of Queensland. They still have a lot of work to do in this game if they're going to come back and win it. But that, before what was like a 6-7, I think at one stage an AK gold lead, has now dipped back down to 4. And with this Baron, that gold advantage can continue to actually build in their favor. So we'll see where this one goes. As we just tend to take a look at the map overall. It's going to be a bit of a push time right now for QUT. They're going to have to get themselves, you know, refocused, recentered, and hopefully with their next push, they might be able to bring this game to an end, but there is still a chance that UQ can bring this back.
Yeah, definitely.
And if they're going to bring it back, it's going to have to come through Neonai. Neonai is the one we're going to have to be watching out for.
Yeah, definitely. They were just able to lay into the team because Lee Sin wasn't able to get onto her.
Oh, here we go. This next fight is going to be over the Cloud Soul, potentially. If QUT is able to pick that up, they will be able to really get themselves on that match point, as we got a little bit of a fight breaking out right now. Jennifer Jane actually is scaring QUT away. The front line of UQ beefy enough to kind of hold them back. They're going to stop the Dragon Soul from going over. That's a nice pickup by the University of Queensland, but they need to be careful. Super Minions are making their way into the base. UQ, yes, they stopped the Dragon Soul, but now they got to avoid the fight. Full Elise may have gone in too deep, however. Is going to be scared away, but you can see how much damage Neonai is doing with those autos.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 autos, and Lissandra's already that low.
Yeah, so awkward situation right there. QUT looked a little uncommittal when it came to securing that dragon, and, well, they wound up giving it away. UQ steals that one off of them, as we can see right now. Neonai just going ahead, securing that red buff for the next fight. UQ, I mean, you've got more items being completed right now on this red side, on this Jinx. They have that ability to stop some of that crowd control, and that's where things are going to get scary. As I do kind of wonder if QUT has missed their window to end. At this stage of the game, you know, you have a very beefy front line with Graves and Jenner by Ruby Jane. I finally figured out the name right there. Luxana, all you have to do is get one good shockwave, and the damage from Neonai to follow up could be enough to turn this around. If you're looking at the QUT side, it's all about keeping Jinx's fish modes alive for an extended fight. If Jenner Ruby Jane goes down, that could be big. However, backup arrives for the save. Jenner Ruby saved by the Wild Growth, and now Graves with the flag and drab helped secure the kill for Neonai, and all of a sudden, they are a member down on the side of QUT. No super minions in the base just yet. That inhibitor has to be respawning soon. And again, UQ finding picks, finding way to keep this side afloat.
Yeah, it was especially good since Jinx got the bounty as well on the Kled.
Yeah, I mean, that helps for sure. Jinx already has a full build, though.
I think she finished the full build off of that.
Yeah, possibly, actually, because it was the GA was the last item that we just saw finished right there out of Neonai. And man, that is actually insane. You know, you have the QSS buff, you have the GA, you have a Lulu in your pocket as well.
Definitely.
Neonai is going to be so tough to bring down. You even have a cleanse off cooldown ready to go.
True.
I just don't realistically see at this stage of the game how QUT is going to stop Neonai, and I feel like UQ feels the same because they're just sending it straight down mid. Full Elise has to run away. Super Mega Death Rocket not enough to secure the kill, and just out of range of the zap. Full Elise is going to be safe for now. That's going to be the second tower going down. 2 quick towers. Flank attempt, though. Teleport coming in by Haza, and they're going for the play on Luxana. Do they have the damage? Yes, the Orianna is gone, but the front line was torn apart as well, so Frosty is no longer in the play. Neonai doing so much work. That's going to be a Frozen Tomb on themselves. Full Elise is immediately knocked into the wall. Haza got caught up in it as well. That said, Kled does arrive to return the favor. Jenner by Jane goes down. Cataclysm from Graves helps find a double kill over to themselves. Neonai was the one doing the damage. Only Haza left standing against 3 members strong from the University of Queensland. Death timers at about 17 seconds before Frosty is up. But with how fast Neonai can kind of burn through these towers, that may as well be the game.
I honestly think that is the game.
That is.
Yep.
That's going to do it. University of Queensland pull off the comeback. They were 7K down. It does not matter. Jinx got there in the end, and UQ take game number 1.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Jinx is a hyper carry. Once she gets those items, it's over.
Yeah, we saw it go all the way through. Just real quick, we're going to try and bring up some of okay, we're not going to look at that. That's all well and good. There were some weird things going on right there. Either way, University of Queensland take game number 1. They made the comeback happen. Shout out to Neonai. Definitely, I would have to say the MVP of that game.
Definitely. He's the one that really won those team fights. He's the one that put the damage.
I would say, though, shout out to Graves as well. You were saying, why isn't that Jarvan in mid? I was saying, well, it's kind of getting that bot lane moving, and we did see that come together.
Yeah.
So I really liked how they played that game. Really well done to the UQ side. But this was only game number 1, Marley. There's still potentially 2 more next.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll be switching sides as well. So for people who don't know, blue side comes in from the bottom, as well as red side comes in from the top. So when you switch sides, there's a bit of advantage just naturally from minions pushing. So we'll see if that's enough to...
I always feel like the stronger advantage is that first pick in the draft. I think that's where you typically see the advantages from the sides. Either way, though, we won't be seeing that until after a little bit of a break. So we're going to be throwing into a break right now. When we come back, game number 2 in our Inter-Varsity Showdown.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Game 1 is in the books, but game 2, well, we are right in the thick of it. I am Max, joining me is Marley, and we are going straight into our pick and bans for our second game right down there below us. So really, we got to sit up nice and tall and just to have a look at that. But yeah, we are in the thick of it right now. QUT is actually now on the, I believe we have these the wrong way around. I believe QUT is now on the red side. UQ is on the blue side. That's neither here nor there. But the important thing is UQ has already won one game. QUT, they're looking for a little bit of strike back, I would say, in this one.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully bring it to game 3 if they want, but...
Well, I think they want.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, I guess.
I mean, it just depends if they throw or not.
You told me you would be optimistic coming into this one, and already it's, I guess they can win if they want. They can throw, I guess. Where's the optimism?
It's just how they play. No, it's how they're going to... No, don't take it the wrong. Don't take it the wrong way, no.
Okay, well, there you go. Just how they play as we get ready to go into this right now. We have a look at our champions for this upcoming game. Two very, I want to say different team compositions in this one right now. I love the mobility of UQ. I love how decisive they have to be. One of the things I overheard before coming into this game, they did feel like they weren't decisive enough when committing to fights. With what they have put together, they're going to have to be decisive to make this one work. Between, only a couple tools of engagement, more importantly, the sheer amount of mobility that we see on that UQ side, they could be a very fast and a very efficient team.
Definitely. But with QUT, they also have that Thresh as well. So they have some lockdown.
I suppose, but I'm a little bit worried actually with QUT's team composition as a whole. They don't really have that engage go button quite like what UQ has. When you look at UQ, you have a depth charge that can be used, a petrify engage that can be used as an engage, and funnily enough, an angry Viking running at your face with that Ragnarok. I know it's not really a crowd control lockdown, but it is something sometimes you can kind of work around.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the QUT side, you got a solo pick from a death sentence out of the Thresh, and maybe a Gnar flank. But outside of that, they don't really have that go button.
I mean, they still have Silas. If you look at UQ's ultimate, he does have quite a bit of options.
Yeah, I guess you could just steal away the depth charge, I suppose, and use that.
Yeah.
I don't realistically, neither of these teams, I think, are going to be looking for those big engages, but what they are going to be looking for is damage output in the fights. Once again, we saw what Jinx could do last time. This time it's going to be piloted by the QUT side with the champion named after Jinx. So we have Jinx's fish bones on Jinx. I feel like that always bodes well for,
yeah,
when
definitely.
it comes together.
It's their character. If they're willing to name their account after a character, then it's their baby. It's who they play.
Yeah, and I think that is going to be one to watch out for. The other sort of champion when I'm looking at this that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on is actually Luxana on the Cassiopeia. Something that we saw in the last game was two more, I would say, I like to call them controlling mid laners with the Lysandra and the Orianna, a throwback to a couple years ago in this game when they were kind of playing against each other. But the big thing with those two is they're not really known for their DPS. They're more known for almost being like a hybrid, sort of a support mage, and they can do a lot of damage, but they're also there to provide that utility. Cassiopeia, you take Cassiopeia for that DPS in a fight. It's essentially a second bot laner except doing magic damage as opposed to physical damage, especially with how fast those Twin Fangs can go firing out. And against frontliners like Gnar, like potentially that Silas as well, if they're able to kind of quell it, I could actually see Luxana having a very strong game.
Definitely. But we also have Karma mid. as well, which is very interesting. I think they're going to try and play for bot lane with Jinx.
Yes. I mean, you have a Jinx, right? You have your hyper carry. So essentially it's a double support. It's kind of taking that last thing I was talking about with the Orianna and Lissandra and having that hybrid sort of mid laner, but pushing the scales even more on that support side, I suppose. So will be interesting to see. I'm also kind of curious if we see the tank Karma build.
Oh, true. I do forget that is a thing sometimes.
I don't like it in this matchup. I think tank Karma would actually do quite poorly against the Cassiopeia, personally, but we'll see. It could be the case.
Yeah. Or they just go straight like support and try and stay bot lane for the
No, you don't.
Well, I mean, more of a supporty build.
I don't want the Karma staying bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely you don't want that because then it's just free mid, but I imagine they're going to be rotating around the Jinx quite a bit.
Yeah, I think once we get to the team fights, that's what we'll see there.
Yeah.
So it will be an interesting game for sure. We're going to be throwing to one more break as we load into the match in and of itself. When we do come back, though, we will be on Summoner's Rift for game number 2, so stay with us. We have our Inter-Varsity Showdown when we return.
Now, Farmer James, I've got an egg here.
Yes.
How long between an egg being laid and an egg hatching?
Well, that really comes down to the chicken, because what happens is she'll be laying her 1 egg a day. She'll be putting it in her nest, or she'll have it in her nest. Then when she decides she's got enough, what she'll do is she'll then sit on them. Once she sits on them and they reach a certain temperature, 37.5, 37.6 degrees Celsius, and a certain humidity, then the chicken will start to form inside the egg. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Very amazing.
Then 21 days later, roughly, then they start to hatch.
And we're seeing a lot more suburban households getting chickens.
Absolutely, I think it's great. They make a fantastic pet, chickens. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, and to be able to have fresh eggs every day, why wouldn't you?
Could you have just one?
Oh, I'd never have just one. No, they need a mate. So I'd have at least 3 or maybe 4. But bear in mind, you're then going to have 3 or 4 eggs a day when they're laying at their peak. So you'll need lots of mates who will be able to take some of the eggs from you.
Now, that obviously looks like a hen. That's
Yes.
the mama.
Yes.
What's the difference?
As I said, it was only going to be a minute, but we are now back in with player cams. Ooh, that's exciting. UQ on that blue side, QUT are in red, and also running for their lives right now. The invade from UQ kind of pushing away Robidi Young. I am so sorry. I pronounced that name horribly. How do you pronounce that one?
Yeah, that is Robidi Nagian?
Brobity. Brobity
yeah.
was kind of scared out of that top lane and was going to be forced away, but at the end of the day, no harm, no foul, no summoners burnt from either side.
It was kind of a copy of last game, so instead of QUT doing it, it's UQ doing it this time.
Yeah, which was interesting as Silas jungle is not something I've seen in a little while either, so I'm going to be excited to see how Sai Lofu will be able to play this one out. Sai Lofu, arguably the MVP of the last game on that Lee Sin for the QUT side. Unfortunately, they lost, so you can't really kind of stay as an MVP. You need to win the game. But we'll be curious to see how Sai Lofu will kind of play the Silas. I think Silas has more of that late-game utility, and we already know that QUT's jungler is super strong, so we'll see if that's going to be able to come together. Still excited to see what Jinx's Fishbones can do on Jinx herself. Graves, you mentioned before, can be that aggressive jungler in their own right, so on someone like the Xin Zhao, we'll see if that's going to be the case. It does look like for the time being, though, each of those junglers are going to be opting for a full clear, where Xin Zhao should be slightly faster.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Silas is really built for jungle, so, like, in terms of, like, monster
Silas
scaling.
junglers, still a thing.
Yeah, but he doesn't do nearly as much as, like, 2 jungle counts.
What?
Isn't the scaling different between the two?
What? No, scaling would be
The-
do you mean like power level scaling?
Just monster like, scaling.
It should be the same. It's whenever you get smite, or whenever you get the jungle item, then it's...
No. So some abilities will do more to jungle counts than others.
Oh, yeah, okay, so you're talking about the clear speed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
Xin Zhao
essentially.
will have a faster clear speed, yes.
Yeah.
And actually Xin Zhao will actually use that faster clear speed to invade. But no, Silas jungle has been around for like the past ever since Silas was released, like we've been seeing Silas in the jungle. Because of that life steal, you are able to clear the camps. However, Graves is able to get a healthier clear, will invade, will get to first blood, and it's UQ striking first.
Yeah, I mean, putting that Silas back, especially like a level, like just getting that advantage against a Silas will be very good for them. Because
it's just any jungle solo kill on enemy jungle tends to be good, I would feel like. Sanic is in a bit of trouble, however, trying to walk away from this one. We'll be able to sidestep the chompers, and we'll be safe for now. This bot lane, though, Jinx's Fishbone's already bringing out big-time damage.
yeah, the Nautilus is only level 2, so I think he stood a little too far back during the hook exchange.
Nautilus is level 3.
Yeah, he was level 2 before.
Yeah, but that wasn't because of the positioning. It was there were more minions.
No, the Sivir was level 3 before.
Okay, so he may have missed 1?
He may have missed like a couple of casters or something, but he was under a level.
Okay. Well, was not anymore,
yeah.
So should be fine now. As we do watch Jenny Ruby Jane doing what Olaf does, which is getting right in their opponent's face and kind of forcing Brobdy back a bit. We will be looking to kind of force perhaps an issue right now. Typically in the early levels in this matchup, the Gnar should be okay for a bit until essentially right now. Levels 4, 5. That's where things can be a little bit difficult right now. So that was a great death sentence coming from Frosty. Sanic, though, is going to be looking for that re-engage, and Frosty does not have mana. So that could be turning into a dangerous situation, especially with Graves just on that left side of the screen. Won't be looking for sort of a follow-up, though, not just yet. That sentence will connect. Zap did not, might not matter. Frosty's going to flash forward, but again, no mana to follow it up. Jinx will flash forward for the kill, but I don't think they get out of this one alive. Not with Graves arriving and that minion blocking the zap. It will be a 1-for-1 in the bot lane.
Yeah, the only thing is the Jinx is the one that got the kill in that bot lane, though. The Sivir didn't get a kill. It was the Xin Zhao that got the kill.
That's fine. I mean, Xin Zhao with 2 early kills right now. Graves should be able to kind of accelerate that bot lane lead, which is all well and good. Because Sivir's a weird one, right? Like, Sivir with items can do a lot of damage, but the Sivir is never going to out-DPS a Jinx in a team fight at the end of the day. So the fact that you're spreading out your gold a little bit with all of your damage threats, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing.
Fair enough. That is a valid point.
As we watch Jenny Ruby Jane try to get some poke damage back down on the Brobdy, but not really going to find too much there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, that's a flash burned by Foelise. Good dredge line coming through.
Definitely. The Sivir is alone bot lane, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when supports roam. The great thing about Sivir is with the bouncing boomerangs, you actually can farm super safely and super far back.
That is fair.
Yeah, I mean, look, you don't pick Nautilus unless you want to roam, right? Like UQ is fully expecting to leave their bot laner alone sometimes to get that pressure in mid.
Yeah, that is also fair.
So, I don't know. I'm not going to be critical of a roaming Nautilus. I'm never going to be critical of a roaming Nautilus. That's just, that would be silly. In fact, if anything, I kind of want to see Frosty start roaming a little bit more on this Thresh as well. It's just because, you know, when you're shoved into these types of situations, you still have that dragon available. Maybe you can start looking for there. Granted, you do want to escort that wave all the way to the tower before you start looking to see what you can do at this stage. Already have the Noon Quiver picked up by Jinx's Fishbone, so I don't think you want to reset just yet. And yeah, the next objective, it is going to be that Scuttle Crab. So actually things being timed quite well for this QUT side.
Definitely. And it doesn't seem like, are they going to start it?
What, the dragon?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Not yet. Even though you have that vision around it, it's still a little bit too risky because you know that that mid lane has just reset on the UQ side, and you don't really know if they can be coming straight through the jungle, if they're going to be kind of walking back into the lane. Haven't seen Xin Zhao in a little while. Graves could be a big threat, especially because of the 2 early kills on them. So yeah, you don't want to force a dragon unless you have all the information.
Fair enough, yeah. And Xin Zhao's level 6, while Silas is still level 5, so hopefully we get to see a little more Xin Zhao.
Well, I think we're going to see them right here. Sanic's going to try to force the play. Let's watch for that dredge line. Chompers delaying the inevitable. Jinx's Fishbone has the lantern, but it might not matter. Too much damage coming from the UQ side as Graves picks up their 3rd kill of the game.
Yeah.
As we watch Luxana Little sidestep right there, catching Police in the miasma. That said, the Petrifying Gaze actually misses the stun, and here comes Frosty trying to follow it through. It actually will be Sai Lofu who gets the damage. Lantern to escape, might not be needed. Another Petrifying Gaze misses. Last tower shot was not enough for the kill. Meanwhile, Jenny Ruby Jane gets the flash out of Brobdy as the rest of UQ gets started on the Dragon.
Bot lane also has Dragon Cryo, so Jinx is also missing a lot of farm from that as well.
The dive happening in the top side. That's going to be a kill secured. And they'll pick that one up. I mean, yeah, when you reset, you tend to lose sometimes at least one wave of CS. I don't think it's that bad yet. Now is when things could get a little dicey, though, for Jinx's Fishbone. Thresh should arrive by the next wave. This isn't the worst situation in the world for Jinx's Fishbone just yet.
Yeah. Ooh, Nautilus is level 6 now.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates starting to become available from both sides of the game. As New Nai content to actually step quite forward in this one. Frosty's going to try to force the play, throws the Lantern back. However, New Nai should be able to just turn this around. It doesn't look like UQ want to fight, and I'm a little bit surprised because they have that level advantage. They had to burn both their ultimates, though, to escape. As we watch Graves in that mid lane, not really find any fight.
Yeah.
Luxant continuing to just sort of pick off in that mid lane, continuing to farm ahead. UQ looking so much more confident during the early stages of this second game compared to what we saw in game number 1. And I think this is just kind of showing what a win can do for a team.
Yeah, definitely. It changes their tempo as a team.
Yeah, and obviously, though, as this game progresses, we'll be curious to see. We know that late game, we may have to favor the QUT side. It's all kind of dependent on whether or not Jinx's Fishbones will get themselves enabled, or if UQ can provide enough map pressure and kind of end the game before then. This is definitely going to help their cause. Foley will not be able to escape, even though the Petrifying Gaze didn't get the stun. Another mid laner has been found. Another great roam coming from Sanic, and that's going to be some tower plates and more gold going over to the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even getting like Cass ahead as well, it just helps shred the team.
Exactly, and I feel like, yeah, we talked about how Jinx's Fishbones is going to be a major late game source of DPS. You can say the same thing about the Cassiopeia. The difference is Cassiopeia's damage will probably be more on Sai Lofu and Brobdy, as opposed to where Jinx's Fishbones kind of hits everyone with the area of effect coming from those rockets. So you'd still favor the damage, and you'd still probably favor the late game at QUT, I would have to say. I'm really curious how these top laners, though, will get involved, as somewhere along the lines, I think we missed a solo kill by Jenny, run by Ruby Jane. It's currently 5 kills to 1 in favor of UQ.
No, we saw it.
We did?
Yeah.
My
you
memory's
commented.
leaving. I'm old. All right, I'm old. My memory's going. Everything's a blur.
Oh, and Zen Zhao has Gorge Anchor now.
Yep.
So just even more survivability.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the gold, like by individuals, currently Graves, a.k.a. Jin Zhao, that's not confusing. Most gold in the game.
I mean,
a dive. That dive will be countered by said Graves. Expect to see the Crescent Blade. There it is. That should protect Mew Knife for a little bit. Unfortunately for Graves, though, that will be a bounty going away. Dead Sense misses. Re-engage comes through. Sai Lofu barely survives. Full Lease was able to roll down, but they only get one. However, the bounty goes to Jinx's Fishbone, and that is a big pickup. And when you look at the map, UQ not applying pressure anywhere else despite 4 members of QUT on the bot side.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, especially since Cass is alone in mid. You would hope that she would push a bit more. It's a shame on UQ part for not like pushing, but good for.
It's good for QUT. Hey, they'll take that. It's just a well-timed play on that bot side. Kraken Slayer now picked up by Jinx's Fishbone, and that will probably come into play just in time for the next big fight that might happen.
There you go. The Karma picked up the Kindle gem and the mirror, so she's going to the support build.
Yep. So we will be seeing the support come. I mean, and again, that's not too surprising at this stage. The entire game right now is all about protect Jinx's Fishbones. And the one thing I'm worried about UQ is they don't really have a lot of lockdown. You have the depth charge from Sanic, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
And that could just be, protected in a way. So we'll be curious if UQ will be able to stop this Jinx as we get later and later into the game.
Yeah. I mean, both of them are even in CS, but Jinx has 2 kills plus that bounty, so.
I mean, yeah, CS only says so much. So you can take a look at the gold differential, 1.3K gold advantage currently on Jinx's Fishbone over No9.
Yeah, like, just the kills are helping so much for the Jinx.
Yeah, and I mean, you did bring up, you know, that situation before where Graves was the one who picked up the kill instead of Neo9, and whether or not that would come into play later into this game. It's something we could be a little bit mindful of. I still kind of like the pressure that Graves has been putting on the map, though, overall, and I do think it has been efficient. The big thing for me, though, is UQ cannot afford to let this momentum slip, and that's why I like that dropping of the Herald in the mid lane. Yeah. I feel like UQ really wants to get this Cassiopeia going in the side lanes a bit more, get Neo9 into that mid lane as soon as possible. No, the tower survived!
No!
Surely not. No, is that a bug, or is it alive on 1 health? Hold on, we're
Is it?
Hold on.
There's no way.
29!
Aw.
That is unfortunate. Either way, Dragonfight is started. Sanic will get caught by the Death Sense as the box is dropped. Lantern used to kind of get Elise involved, yet Jinx's Fishbone is the one who's caught out. That's going to be a flash for a flash, but one you will happily trade.
Definitely. You don't want to lose that lead on Jinx.
Oh boy, Elise in a bit of trouble, and we can see the Twin Fangs, just 2 of them, does that much damage, and that's why Luxana is going to be a big threat in this game.
Definitely. And the Karma went Moonstone.
Yep.
As well. So.
It's a support. Like, it's a double support play for QUT in this game. Just one of the supports likes to farm.
Yeah.
And has one of the most disgusting poke in the game.
Yeah, it is quite disgusting.
We do go back towards their top side right now. We're pretty uneventful up there. All the action's been happening down below, as that's another good death sentence. The choppers drop right behind depth charge, though. Right back onto Fishbones as Graves finds the flank, gets the kill, and that is the damage gone. It comes at the cost of the support, but that's A-okay if you are UQ. The problem is no mana on Neo9. The good thing, Luxana was there with the teleport flank, so 2 kills go over to the UQ side. Frosty will have to try to run away, and that's going to be more advantages and more gold funneled into UQ.
Although it is on the Nautilus as well.
You promised me you would not be as pessimistic.
I want to see the Sivir get kills, okay? I want to see the ADCs get these kills. I want to see them pop off.
All right, well, it will come. It will come. I think, well, I mean, for QUT, it has to if they want any chance to win this game.
Yeah, definitely.
And for UQ, I would almost argue the same thing. Like, it will have to come eventually, but I still really love that flank by Graves. And maybe it's the jungle main in me, but I like seeing junglers pop off a lot more than bot laners, all right?
I'm the other way. I feel like I appreciate bot laners popping off a lot more. They tend not to get love, in my opinion.
What?
A lot of them I see just don't get love.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah. This has been a learning experience.
I'm sorry.
About how we view the realm, about how we view Runeterra and who the priority. The character with 2 dedicated supports to help protect them just does not get enough love. As Brody is going to get run down a little bit, but should be able to save. Sai Lofu looking for a bit of a re-engage right now. Xin Zhao goes ahead, drops the Crescent Blade. Meanwhile, on the other side, depth charge straight onto Jinx's Fishbone. Still was able to find the Lantern. Will it be enough? The box used to try and protect, and Neo9 did not get the crit that they needed. So now Jinx's Fishbone is going to try to turn around. Flash forward! Oh, UQ, you greedy bot side. That's going to be 2 kills going over to QUT.
It was definitely a good play on QUT's part as well, just having the
now I'm going to be the pessimist. Why flash forward?
They wanted the kill.
Well,
they got greedy.
Yeah, didn't work out, did it?
No, it didn't.
QUT allowed back in this game as Jinx's Fishbones again, taking a look at that gold situation, getting more and more in their favor. Meanwhile, the top side, they're pushing down, taking down towers as well. That is the kind of play that completely shifts the momentum of the game.
I feel like QUT tends to have a little more map pressure.
Yes. That has been, I think, a reoccurring thing. We saw that a lot last game, and we have been seeing it this game as well. To an extent, I'd actually disagree with that in this game, thinking about it. I think UQ has been the more proactive team in terms of getting map pressure, because we've seen more plays from Graves come through. We've seen the roams coming through from Sanic. I think QUT have just kind of played strong laning phases and have been able to respond in kind. So it might feel like QUT has had more map pressure, but this time around, I'm not too sure. I think it's kind of more on UQ's side.
Fair enough. I'm just going based off of just the towers right now.
I mean, that
But-
tower just fell because QUT tried to force a play. That wasn't necessarily because of the map pressure, although because of that, now QUT should be able to get that map pressure because now they have that lead. Now they got that Herald as well. They will lose a bot side tower in return, and now we'll see where they can go from here.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
We look towards the mid lane. Graves and Unai gonna go ahead and collect some farm, not find too much on the tail end of it all. At the end of the day, though, they got to be a little bit cautious. They don't find themselves getting surrounded in situations like this, where realistically UQ, I mean, both teams are playing at this stage of the game like they have the lead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Xin Zhao's doing a really great job.
Yeah, we're
getting
going to
these
see it
picks.
right here as
Yeah.
going one-on-one against Brobdy, but the rest of UQ should be here, so will be expected to see the Gnar get picked up. Another kill over to the UQ side. That is now a 5-1 Xin Zhao, who is just pulling further and further ahead. Xin Zhao's going to have to be a little bit of a carry, I feel like, in this game at this stage, but they are still going for that bruiser build. At some stage, you're going to want to carry over, you know, some of that gold over to the rest of the team. Granted, a third Drake for UQ, an Infernal Soul around the corner. Soul Point, that's
Wow.
going to be pretty brutal.
Oh, the Hex Flash.
Hex Flash, Depth Charge into
Oh,
the Dredge line, full of
no.
damage coming through. Sai has to go golden, but you're just going to come on golden right into Jenny Ruby Jane. Second kill for the Olaf. More gold to the front line of the UQ side.
Yeah, I still want to see more gold on the cast and Sivir, though.
Well, I mean, we'll take a quick look at that in 1 sec. Graves is going to go for the 1v3 play, and Graves just walks forward, and QUT burns the box and walks away.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing about the Cassiopeia. That is nearly 3K gold over their opponent in lane. I think Cassiopeia is doing fine. Cassiopeia has the most gold in the game, next to Jinx's Fishbone, who has a couple hundred more.
Yeah. I mean, it's also Karma doesn't really need too many items to like function in a team.
I guess, and realistically, that's where we're seeing the gold difference between these two sides. And because Karma is going for a more econ build, that gold difference as a team side actually doesn't mean that much.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, sometimes, you know, gold totals don't tell the full story. That is something that I do agree with. However, I do expect QUT to start clawing back. They still have that Herald sort of sitting inside Lofu's pocket, waiting to be dropped. We'll be curious to see where that one goes. Could be perhaps more on the top side as Luxana gets some tower damage through. The response is going to come from Silofu, and oh, that could be dangerous. Sanik's starting to walk away. This could be a very exposed Luxana, or it could be exposed Sanic, as they're going to get caught by the death sentence into the play. The choppers hold him in place.
Yeah.
Nice pick, as at the same time a pick's going to be happening up top at UQ, and yeah, they just spread themselves way too thin and are now paying the price. Graves is going to try for a re-engage. Silofu misses, and now all of a sudden it's the jungler from QUT that could be caught out. Avoids the miasma, avoids some of the damage. Crescent Strike helps get the kill, but the rest of QUT are
And
here.
exhaust.
Luxana does a sidestep of the death sentence, yet it's a 2v4. Frosty still
let's
goes
go!
down. Luxana on an absolute tear. Graves is going to try to escape. New Knight was able to get themselves in, but it's way too little too late. And now in the 1v3, Jenny Ruby Jane arrives to try to turn it around, but it's going to be a game of cat and mouse flashing forward. Here comes the Olaf. I don't think they have the damage. Jensen's Fishbone gets the kill on the back line. Jenny Ruby Jane will not be able to get through the shield, and it's a big fight in favor of QUT.
Oh, that was such a good play, at least on QUT's part, just spacing as well.
The kiting had to be perfect. It was Sanic, though, wants revenge. No, we don't get any supportal combat.
Oh, the Olaf just tunneled vision, though. If he kept going on the Jinx, I feel like that would have come out a lot better for...
I feel like in that one, well, the Jinx flashed over the Olaf, right?
Yeah.
Like, Olaf was running for the back line. Jinx flashes to the other side and just got right into Neonai's face and won that duel by what looked to be about 30 health.
Yeah.
So, that was an interesting one. A very aggressive flash, but it pays off in favor of QUT, who are now right back in this game. Herald dropped in that mid lane. Will be collected by the UQ side as they try to get that charge off. It does get through, but the tower's still standing.
Yeah. The other thing I want to mention is the Thresh went Shirelios.
Shirelios, yeah.
Yeah. I would have wanted the Shirelios on the Karma a little more. Instead
Then
of
what would you want on the Thresh?
Locket.
Fair. I mean, Thresh can still go Locket. In fact, I expect to see Thresh potentially go Locket. Oh!
Locket's the mythic.
True. Either way, Ragnarok has to be burned by Jenny Ruby Jane just to escape that play. 4 members of QUT are bot side right now, and that's going to leave Luxana alone on the top side to push. That's going to leave a 2v1 with the support. Wait, why is the support on their own in the mid lane for QUT? That's unusual. That's awkward positioning, and the end result of that is UQ thinking, you know what, we can go ahead and start Baron.
Yeah. It looks like they're moving towards
Yeah,
Baron,
no,
though.
this is going to have to result in a
noticed.
fight, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming at this stage, UQ is going to back away. I'm not sure about this Baron call. I think they could have actually put more pressure in that mid and top side as opposed to going to the Baron to pull them away, because that's a base race that UQ could have potentially won.
Definitely.
Either way, though, they're going to go collect the Scuttle Crab. They did force QUT away from that bot side, and that tier 2 tower is still standing on the bot side of the map. QUT, though, they're going to fake a dragon and try to set up an ambush, actually. They get some poke damage onto Jenny Ruby. It's Sai Lofu, though, who's going to try to make the play over the wall if they see it. Carries from UQ, though, are safely back in a safe position, so QUT, they back off for now. They need this dragon. A Dragon Soul would be massive for UQ, but I don't know if UQ is going to have a chance to fight for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Olaf's backing off, and they're going back to Baron.
They're going back to the Baron, and hey, UQ are saying, we'll trade Baron for Dragon, that's fine. The thing is, I don't know if UQ has the damage to burn through this quickly, although with Cassiopeia, they absolutely might be able to. QUT, they go ahead, they get that Dragon, but they need to race to that Baron pit, and I don't think they're going to get there in time, so the first Baron goes to the University of Queensland.
I feel like that's a fair, well, it's a good trade in UQ's favor.
Yeah, I have to agree for now, but the thing is, what can UQ do with this Baron? It's one thing to get it, it's another thing to put it to use, and that last team fight we saw from UQ wasn't necessarily the greatest, so they really need to stay measured, make sure they stick to their lanes, make sure they're able to apply that map pressure. We'll be curious what QUT can do in response right now. This is turning into a very interesting chess match, especially when you consider the fact that Jinx's Fishbones is very much a major threat for UQ. 3 items completed, 6, 3, and 4 on the game. A team fight where Jinx's Fishbones is allowed to survive for even 3 or 4 seconds is a team fight loss for the University of Queensland.
UQ is definitely going to have to focus on the engaging on the Jinx or catching her out somehow.
With what tools, though? That's the problem. Like, that's the problem that UQ is going to have at this stage of the game. I feel like UQ needs to spread this map out as much as possible, and it's why I wasn't so sure on the Baron play before. I liked it when they were shoving 2 lanes at once. This map right now is spread out. They have the Baron. These are all plus things for the University of Queensland. They're going to use it to get that mid tower. They spot the flank as well coming from Sai Lofu. And with that, they're now going to be roaming towards that top side. They're going to try to put that pressure there. QUT will be able to respond, though. Don't be surprised if QUT tries to force a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it.
TP.
Here it comes through. Teleport coming through. Yet the damage was there. Full Elise is already gone. But that's not the big threat. The threat is Jinx's Fishbones. And because UQ recognizes that they can't take down the Jinx, they're playing this very, very measured. Don't overextend just because you got 1 pick. In fact, I like how Jenny Ruby is going straight back to that mid lane. UQ, they need to spread the map out once again and keep the QUT off balance. A 5v5 fight will not go UQ's way.
Definitely.
That Sense makes contact, the box holds Luxana down, that's going to be a flash, and this is exactly what UQ wanted to avoid. It looks like they did enough to escape the fight for now, but it comes at the cost of the Crescent Strike away from Graves.
Yeah. It's one less engaged tool that they have, or way to get onto the Jinx.
It's all about disengage, I feel like, for UQ. They have to play this cat and mouse game. They have to try and pick their moments and keep that map spread. I'm going to be critical of UQ in the sense where I feel like they stayed on the top side a little bit too long.
Yeah,
the second they got that pick, the second QUT tried to force the issue and they got away, they should have been spreading the map out again. They need to keep QUT sort of running around like a headless chicken at this stage if they're going to win this game. UQ. The Baron helped. They got a couple tower. They got a tower. They got some pressure on that top side. They could have gotten a little bit more, I feel.
Yeah, they could have capitalized on Baron a lot more by like having mid pushed while for QUT was top.
Yeah, exactly.
So they could have just forced like so much more, but instead they just wanted to try and take top tower when
Yep, and they didn't get it
should've-
in the end, so
Yeah.
a little bit unfortunate. They got one tower. They got about 3K advantage at the end of the Baron, so it's not like the worst Baron in the world. It's not like they completely threw it away.
Yeah.
But again, the later and later this game gets, the better and better things are going to get for QUT as, well, another fight is going to try to be forced. Crescent Strike does throw Brody back, but Nara's going to throw the rest of UQ back to that front line. No Jinx's Fishbone, though, in this fight. Why is QUT fighting without their damage? This is what happens when you don't have your carry. Jinx's Fishbone arrives and UQ runs, but the damage was done. The top laner has already fallen.
Yeah. I mean, at least the Jinx got the kill with her ult.
Yeah, good snipe actually from Jinx's Fishbone.
Definitely.
And with that Dead Sense now, this is the fight QUT wants. Silofu goes in, uses the Crescent Blade away. However, re-engage coming on that back line just absolutely swarms. Sanic goes down, and UQ has to run for their life. The Zap slows another. Jenny Ruby Jane does not have Ragnarok, will be run down. And that is the difference right there of a fight with and without Jinx's Fishbone. One goes terribly, the other goes amazing for QUT.
Yeah, once Jinx was there, it just turned into their favor.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a reoccurring theme in this game the further and further we get in this one. And this is why, again, UQ, it's hit and run.
They had a
Cat
split.
and mouse. They
Yeah.
just cannot let QUT stay stable and find these big team fights.
Yeah, it just the fact that UQ just stayed as a team bot lane enabled Jinx to go there. Whereas if they were spread out, it was what, one pick for 4 of their team going bot.
Yeah.
You know.
It could have gone a lot better for them. Granted, an Infernal Drake can still turn this game around, and an Infernal Soul, I should say, for the University of Queensland. And that is what I see ourselves fighting for in just a few moments. The Infernal Soul has spawned onto the map. Taking a look at the situation, though, QUT would be the faster team to get to that Dragon Pit, although we do have Neonai as well as Jenny Ruby Jane making their way down.
Sonic was very aggressive in placing that ward as well. Like, he had no care for what was above him. He just wanted to get that vision.
Here we go. Dragon does get initiated. QUT starts to make their way down into the river. Luxana's Petrifying Gaze is going to be stolen by Silofu as Brobity does a lot of damage. Box used to cut off the choke point. Sanic still going to drop that depth charge right into that backline, slowing Jinx's Fishbone up, but no one is able to get to the Jinx, and now the fight can turn around. Sanic tries to flash form, but is already dead. This Jinx is untouched, running rampant through the University of Queensland side. The fight is won by QUT, and the Dragon will be their reward.
Sanic had the idea of trying to get onto the Jinx, but none of the damage dealers came in for it.
Well, they were zoned out by Silofu at the end of the day. Desperate Dragon Steal goes terribly, and that's a huge fight going in QUT's favor.
Yeah, UQ's playing. UQ's really struggling at this point. Like, they needed to finish a lot earlier, but now
The
Jinx
window's
is,
closed.
Yeah.
The door has been closed by them, unfortunately. They just don't have the tools to get to this Jinx. And yeah, you can drop that depth charge. Yeah, you can try and stone, but that isn't going to be enough. Yeah, like they don't have the DPS, unfortunately, to finish the fight necessarily before Jinx is going to be able to re-engage with those tools thrown on them. And we saw actually how long Silofu was able to stay alive in that backline as well as Brobity. I mean, I don't want to take any credit away from the QUT frontline as well. They did massive jobs in protecting this Jinx by spreading UQ out during that fight. And now with that Baron, QUT, they are in the driver's seat and then some in this game.
Yeah. It's not looking good in UQ's favor right now.
100% kill participation right now for Jinx's Fishbone. Again, you gave the Jinx to the character named Jinx.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is what happens, like, more often than not. You don't let it happen. Otherwise, you could get burned in the end. We are nearly at a stage of the game, too, where QUT is finally in a gold lead. They're not there yet. They don't have the gold lead just yet, but they did pick up that Baron. I imagine we're right around the corner, and then for the first time this game, over 30 minutes in, QUT will technically be in first place.
Yeah, Jinx just got Guardian's Angel, full build. It's over for UQ. Unless they can get a pick on the Jinx, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, again, UQ, they'd have to spread out QUT. They'd have to force these skirmishes. But at this stage, because of the Baron empowered minions, even if you spread out, you're still going to get pushed in on all 3 sides. So it's like losing that Baron, it makes it so much more difficult for the University of Queensland right now. Like, to find a way back into this game, they need the Miracle Team fight.
Yeah.
And I I don't know if they have the tools to pull it off unless QUT takes a massive misstep.
Yeah, it's all on that Jinx. Like, if the Jinx missteps,
So we keep our eyes on Jinx's Fishbone as the Siege makes its way through that mid lane. Take note, though, on the top side of the map, that's where Silofu is currently pushing as well. So it's going to be an attack on two fronts as QUT continues to get their Siege through.
This Thresh is just throwing out hooks like crazy.
Yeah, may as well, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? I mean, you're still at full mana.
True. And a redemption.
So yeah, you're ready to go. Cassiopeia responds to the top side, looks on us there, and here comes the fight, and Jinx's Fishbone is thrown around a little bit, but is still completely healthy and just doing so much damage on the autos. Back to Mega Death Rocky gets a second, that's a double. Another auto finds a triple. That's 3. Do we see some more? Jinx's Fishbone starts to step forward, sidesteps Graves, gets the damage down, doesn't get the kill, so we won't get the Quadra, unfortunately. I wanted a Penta. We're not going to get it. However, QUT is going to push this, I believe, all the way for a win. They will be taking us to a deciding game number 3 as Luxama goes golden only for a few brief moments before they fall as well. It's an unofficial Quadra. It's an unofficial Penta perhaps if Jinx gets the kill, which they do, a triple and a double, 3 + 2, 5. I'm calling it a Penta, and I'm calling it QUT taking the victory and taking us to game number 3.
Yeah, QUT played that very well. They really protected that Jinx. Like, the Jinx's positioning was very well. It was always in the back line. They always waited for UQ to step forward and try to engage onto the Jinx when they had all these forms of disengage.
Yeah, it was really well done. 2 games in a row now, we have seen the Jinx hyper carry work successfully.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we get the Jinx the third game.
It's gotta be banned. It's gotta be banned next game. Look, we are now all tied up at the QQ versus QUT Rumble. There's going to be one game to decide the winner between these two teams. We're going to be taking a bit of a break, but when we come back, game number 3 will be underway.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
All right, we're jumping right into the thick of things right here. It's time for our third and final game in this showdown between UQ and QUT. Now, QUT, they're on the blue side. UQ will be in red, and this is going to be a fun one because already I'm seeing a Jungle Zed get locked in for QUT.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since they first buffed his jungle. Actually, I tend not to see jungle Zeds much anymore.
I have never actually cast a Jungle Zed game. This is going to be my first time on the mic sort of walking us through this, and I'm going to be interesting to see how well that will kind of pay out for QUT. I do like this lock-in because we kind of saw like the pick and bans happen beforehand a little bit, so I know the direction QUT is going. And they did need that extra bit of damage, I feel like, with this team comp. And if it's not obvious, it's going to be obvious right now. They're running back the double support for the second game in a row right now on the QUT side. Karma, once again, back in that mid lane, now going to be paired with that Thresh as well. And I feel like, yeah, you need a bit more oomph sometimes to plan B, and an Assassin jungle can be just that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even just in team fights, if they can get onto the Zeri, since they are an Assassin, that just takes out a huge chunk of...
Yeah, that could be the case. I mean, Zed isn't really known for like the team fight prowess. That's not typically where I'm going to be wanting to see the Zed.
Just picking out the Zeri.
Yeah,
in general.
You could go for that. I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, you'll be able to get that assassination. But looking at that UQ team composition in a bit more details, though, it's not quite as simple as just jumping on that Zeri when you have, the wild growth as well as the rune prisms that can be dropped by Kasumi and Sanic, respectively. In that regards, Ryze is very good at punishing champions that like to jump into your back lines or into your face. So, I mean, UQ actually have a pretty decent job in being able to protect that Zeri. The one thing I worry about when I'm looking at UQ's side right now, it's definitely a tougher team composition to execute, both in terms of the skill shot damage that has to come from the Zeri, as well as the zoning. If we're looking at each of these teams and how much range they absolutely have, I feel like QUT, they are a lot more threatening, they have a lot more range, and they can really sort of manipulate UQ's positioning in a fight.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, they also still have the Trundle and Sejuani as well, so I feel like the Sejuani ult can help lock down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. So the Trundle and the Sejuani, yeah, again, they're frontline tools, right? Like you can still have them in that front line, but that's not really going to help with your zoning necessarily, because that's not really helping the They're each melee champions, and like, yeah, okay, you can throw down the Glacial Prison, I suppose, but more likely than not, that's going to be, yeah, I'm going to have to like try to snipe that through the Thresh and the Ornn in those types of situations, especially if you're going to be looking to try and make contact on Jinx's Fishbones, who will be getting, again, that double support buff, but it's not the double Enchantress support this time. We are getting a little bit more of the engage coming through with Frosty on that Thresh this time around.
Well, I mean, he was there last time as well. But
Yeah, kind of sometimes. Sometimes was around. Wasn't the one who was roaming. Was actually more around than Sanic was, who was roaming on that Nautilus.
yeah,
all the time.
definitely.
I don't think we're going to be seeing as many Sanic roams this time around, though, on that Lulu.
Not on a Lulu, no.
No, that's going to be parked right on Nunai, or on Kasumi even in this regards, because, I mean, with how kind of shorter the range is on that UQ side, I do feel like the whimsy coming from Sanic is going to be very, very useful to possibly sort of like bridge some gaps. My initial thought looking at these two teams, it is going to be a little bit of that zoning control and just where can UQ realistically approach QUT? Or do you wait for QUT to misstep and try and pounce off someone who's out of position?
Yeah, I mean, UQ's more likely to pick out people, whereas QUT's more team fight based. So
I don't even really like saying that UQ is a pick comp either, though, because
well,
they don't.
that's just how they play as a team. They like to
Right.
get picks out.
Right, so they like to. I would have liked more sort of pick abilities then, because, yeah, you have the Glacial Prison out of, like, Jen Ruby Jane, who's going to be on that top lane, though, and it's probably not going to be as easy for them to get involved. And then I guess maybe, if someone steps into them. But it's hard to get picks with the team composition that UQ has, unless you're roaming out of the top lane.
Yeah. Yeah, that is there. I mean, I've seen Kasumi play, and he's very good on Rise. So he the way he positions his ults as well,
Okay.
he's really good at flanking people.
All right, well, we could see some flanks come in then, I do suppose. What I do know, however, is we do have to throw to a spectator delay break. So we're going to be going to a quick 1-minute break, but when we come back, we'll be straight into the action with our third and final game. All right, we are back and straight into the action now. You might notice that Nui Nai has already burnt Flash. There was another little bit of an invade. This time it happened on the bot side of the map from QUT. Didn't result in a kill, but it did get a summoner down, and that's going to be a bit of a problem for the UQ side because already Jinx's Fishbones, who's in a similar position to the last game, being geared up to be that big hyper carry for the QUT side, already has an advantage in lane.
Yeah. Oh, the Thresh hook just landed as well.
Just sentence landing. I mean, we're not going to see, I think, any kills happening
Oh,
at
definitely.
level 1 just yet, but it's just more and more advantages that will allow an easier laning phase for this Aphelios.
The only issue is Aphelios takes a bit to scale up, so he's going to have to really push to get a bigger lead.
I mean, yeah, but we could say the same thing about Jinx in our last game, right? I think QUT is more than comfortable playing a scaling style in this one. In fact, I would say the scaling style probably should be the meta that both these teams should be aiming for because closing out games has been a bit of a struggle for each side.
Yeah, they just don't know how to push their Baron buff, really. They don't really split up in lanes and push their lane advantage. They just kind of group up for team fights.
Yeah, that was something that we saw last game. Maybe he'll improve this game, though. Maybe we've got a bit more guidance. We'll kind of see as we go. I think the big one that I'm going to be looking out for is Sailofu on the Zed, the jungle Zed in this game. Sailofu has been, I think, the more aggressive jungler between the two thus far. And now on an assassin, it could be very interesting indeed. However, Graves might have the health advantage, but does not have the manpower nor the level advantage. That's going to be a flash. Still gets rooted in place by Jinx's Fishbone. And in goes Sailofu. Can't get the kill, but will be able to lantern out safely.
Yeah. A bit of a shame UQ didn't get the kill on that, but they also did, on QUT's favor, the Trundle did have to burn the flash.
Yeah, I think that was flash for flash between the two junglers. Silofu, though, definitely getting the better of that trade at the end of the day, and that's how come we're seeing Graves go back into base, while Silofu will be able to get a double Rift Herald. Meanwhile, Death Sentence does just miss out on Nui No, who will be able to jump over that wall. That said, Sanic is the one who's in trouble, has to flash to safety, as Jinx's Fishbone continues to put damage down.
Yeah. It's going to be very easy for the Zed as well once he like starts to do damage. That he has 3 squishies on their team, whereas the other team, you have Karma, you have Thresh, you have Ornn. It's going to be a lot harder to kill them. So I feel like we're going to see a lot more kills on QUT's side.
Yeah, I think that is probably where we're going to be seeing that. I got to be real with everyone here. I'm not the biggest fan of UQ's team comp in this one. I feel like they're going to run into similar problems as we did that last game, where like unless they can get really creative in the angles that they look for their engages using the Realm Warp from Kasumi or just general flanking and vision control, they don't have that easy avenue to Jinx's Fishbones, especially with the double support protection again.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be a little while before this game's going. I think each of these teams do benefit from scaling into that later game, but I just don't really know what UQ's answer is to QUT's team fight, especially if they play in that exact same style that we saw last game.
Yeah, they would have to just... It's really hard because they don't have a way to really get to the Aphelios unless, yeah, as you said, the Kasumi ults.
Yeah, so we'll see how that will play out. I mean, and even if you go to that vision game as well, I'd say QUT's vision has generally been stronger, but when you make missteps, hey, that's when you can capitalize. Frosty has to burn the flash just to get over that pillar of filth.
The other thing is just Karma just seems to have free reign in a lot of the lane, the mid lane at least, because she's just able to push with her Q.
I mean, yeah, Karma is always going to have sort of, I think, in this matchup, is going to have a bit of priority in the lane because of the range advantage that we were talking about during picks and bans. Karma is just able to outpoke Kasumi in this situation, so Kasumi is always going to be kind of held back. I think if there's any lane where maybe we could see, you know, some benefits for UQ side, it would be in that bot side. I do like the Lulu Zeri over the Jinx, over the Aphelios Thresh at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
But that can change quite quickly as well. Like, Aphelios Thresh is still incredibly dangerous. The problem is Nai and Sanic have to do at least even in that lane just to alleviate what could be a lot of dragon pressure.
Yeah. I mean, if the Thresh manages to land a hook as well, it's a bit harder for them. So they're going to have to be really careful and make sure they're dodging all of the hooks. Because I feel like they have enough kill potential.
I'm reminded of a time back in 2019 when I was doing a cast with Ejim. I think I said something very similar to that. And his response was like pretty much verbatim, anybody can just push Q and get a kill. On a champion like Thresh, right? Like that's just how it is. So yes, dodging the hooks, yeah, that's going to be important. I think that the point is that comes with the territory with some of these engaged supports. And you are correct in that. Like what you said is definitely not wrong. It's like, yeah, just push Q, get a kill, right? Well, that is something that could happen. So yeah, UQ, you know, you got to be fast on the fingers, fast on their feet.
Yeah, definitely. Just always making sure they're paying attention to that Thresh and make sure that they kind of know if he's in the bush or not. You know, well, they don't want to get cheesed.
No one wants to get cheesed as, well, Jen or Ruby Jane getting knocked around a little bit by Asa. A bit of an engage as well coming from Silofu, who did get that buff, so buff protected by the QUT side. Not a lot of kills early in this game. Again, with 2 scaling compositions, no one wants to give up that early lead, so not too surprising.
Yeah.
As we do see back in that mid lane right now. Well, actually, no waves are crashing. Only one person realistically farming at the moment, being Nai, as Graves goes ahead, collects her own red buff. I do expect some sort of a Dragon Dance to happen in the near future because even though, yes, both these teams are content to play for that late game, having Dragon advantages is a big tool to have in that late game as well. And I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen either side make a move on it realistically just yet. It does look like, though, QUT will be going towards it first.
Yeah, I feel like they switched Aphelios and Thresh just to get that like mid priority, and they're just having Karma clean up the bot.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what they did. They went ahead and they just made sure that, you know, this Rise would be pinned down even further. Go ahead, they're going to start that Dragon. It will be secured. Death Sentence also catches Kasumi, who has to flash into a second part of the box. 3-man play may have just won this fight for the QUT side. The damage is starting to come through, but Neo9 was able to safely get into that back line. Jinx's Fishbone's trying to find a way to get the damage in. Blasting Cone, not in time to save Sanic, and in fact, Graves is still held quite low as well. It does look as if everyone was able to escape at the end of the day, but we could be seeing a re-engage for the time being. Graves and Neo9 in trouble underneath that tower, taken lower. The wave is going to crash. Death Sentence makes contact. Neo9, though, does go down. It's a support for the AD carry, and that is more than enough of a good trade. Haza actually misses the second part of the Ornhorn because Jenny Ruby Jane was able to connect with the Glacial Prison, and that will get a flash as more pressure is happening down bot. Teleport's coming through. That's Kasumi looking for a re-engage. Graves is going to scare the rest of QUT out of the jungle.
Yeah, Trundle also doesn't have much mana to do much either, so he's just trying to make sure that they have enough of a... Oh, do we have any gate? Nah, he's just trying to scare them off of the tower dive and keep the tower from falling as well.
Trundle's back in base.
No, before.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we do see Silofu just goes ahead collecting more buffs for the time being. Again, Dragon, the catalyst of that fight, was secured by the QUT side. They also picked up a couple more kills as well. It's all going on this Zed, but this time, you have to admit, it's okay for the Zed to be getting kills, right?
Honestly, yeah, at this point, yeah, it just makes it so that he can kill bot lane, like, and get picks even faster.
You really just like your solo players. Anyways, Neo9 will get kind of held in place and Dragon.
You're the one that said he's not a team fighter.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah, so I'm saying he can get
So you want all the gold
picks
away from the team fight. Now I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I can't win.
No. No, you can't.
I see.
No, I mean, look, I am in agreement at the end of the day. I think the Zed getting these early kills is fine, just like it was fine for the Xin Zhao to get the early kills. Always feed your jungler, people. They're the most important role.
And the jungler bias.
Yes.
Oh,
Unlike you, I admit my bias.
Oh. Fair enough.
As we do continue along.
The Karma does have a Shurelia's, though. So they did switch it up from the Moonstone this time.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, just even more movement speed, I suppose, coming from Folies, which does make a bit of sense. The name of the game for QUT for the second game in a row is going to be keep Jinx's Fishbones alive. They're on another one of these major big damage dealing AD carries that doesn't have any of that mobility. So yeah, providing as much mobility as possible to Jinx's Fishbones is going to be a bit of a priority. Frosty will be looking for the Death Sentence here. Will the hook connect? Yes, it absolutely will. Into the box we go. Jennifer Ruby Jane is ignited on top of all this damage, and it's going to be a slow, painful death by 1,000 cuts, or well, and one big hoof at the end of the day as the Lantern saves Haza from the Pillar of Filth.
A good play by QUT, though. The Thresh hook landing, as well as the fact that he has Glacial Augment, just slowing down the escape.
Unfortunately as well for Sejuani, that boar is a giant hitbox for Threshes in situations like that. So really well done. Once again, by the QUT side, they have gotten a lead. They're extending this lead. And now I'm starting to get more and more worried for this UQ team because you have a very fed assassin quite early in this game, already 3-0-1. And if we take a look at the gold, yeah, they have the most gold in the game by over a K. And if you compare this Zed's gold to anyone on the side of UQ, 2K more than any individual member on that Zed right now. This is the type of performance that can take a game over.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just going to be downhill spiral if they don't start getting kills.
I have to agree on that front right now. For UQ, I don't think they need to start getting kills as much as they need to stop giving kills away. They need to quell the bleeding before they start looking for more proactive plays on their own. Jinx's Fishbone still bullying Kasumi out of lane as Sanic was currently resetting at the time. This will allow the bot side of QUT to get more vision control in the bot half of the map just in time for that second dragon to spawn.
Yeah. QUT is just slowly bleeding at this point. Just
I wouldn't even say it slowly. I feel like in the past 4 minutes it's just accelerated and it's getting big.
Yeah, because they don't have much in terms of being able to like contest the dragon right now. They don't have much vision on it. Their lanes are pushing in. Mid lane's tower's gone. And yeah, Rise is just having to watch out.
You know what? You're still not being optimistic, but I'm agreeing with you. It's not a time to be optimistic right now if you're the University of Queensland. This is dire and getting worse faster and faster for the University of Queensland. Down 6K gold, and we're not even 15 minutes in this game.
Yeah, Zeri doesn't even have an item, so it's not looking too good.
Well, at least they have, you know, they're not wearing brown bags on their feet anymore, so there's some positives there. At least keeping up in the mobility side of things. But that is going to be the second tower going down. Oh, no, it's not actually. Minions make the save at that last possible moment. But soon, it's going to be that second tower going down on the side of UQ as QUT pulls further and further ahead.
I do like that Rise is respecting them and staying back on that second tower.
Yeah.
Like
Well, you have to, right?
you think so, but
I really want to watch your solo queue games now. I want to know what has molded you into this mindset that we see sometimes. Because I'm going to break the fourth wall a little bit. I don't play solo queue. All of my experiences when watching League is always clean, crisp, coordinated LCK. No one ever makes a step out of place. But it seems like you come from the true jungle of chaos and disorder.
If you look at Worlds as well, there was like multiple games where there was an Ezreal in lane by himself with two other people and an engaged champion and like the other ADC, and he's just staying there when like.
Well, that's an Ezreal though. He has Arcane Shift.
Yep, he's still like under their tower.
And then
like
you Arcane Shift.
And he dies.
Arcane Shift to the gray screen. Away you go. Look.
Point is, people don't realize when to respect their opponent.
True. And Ezreal going to gray screen purgatory is a net gain for overall in this game of League of Legends. Either way, Glacial Prison is going to make contact with Frosty, who will be able to escape this time around. Death Sentence makes contact on the Graves, who is still going to be able actually to get into that back line. The big problem is Jinx's Fishbone is healthy. You might lose the support, but Jinx's Fishbones will be able to get underneath that fountain. And Graves is going after them. That will get the flash, but then they will just get rooted in place. So it will be a kill for a kill. A bit too greedy on the UQ side.
Also, the poor Zeri, the Thresh hook was still there, CCing her after the Thresh had just died. So she just stood there.
It's another one of those weird interactions that I just cannot stand.
Yeah.
The Death Sentence lingering around. Anything involving Tristana's rocket jump just makes me angry. And yeah, it sometimes doesn't make any sense, right? Either way, you know what does make sense? A Zed looking for picks. And unfortunately for Jenner, Ruby, Jane, they could be in a bit of trouble right now. Sanic is going to try to make their way. Does not have the wild growth, however. So nothing really to protect this Sejuani. As Jinx's Fishbone actually drops the Moonlight Sigil, and that will be enough to set up the kill going over to Sai Loku. As, Deathmark dropped on Sonic as well. Gotta go fast back to the base.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Like, the Zed just can pick off like 3 of their members very easily. And as you saw, the
Lulu without Wild's Growth?
Yeah.
Probably the easiest.
Yeah, definitely.
Sodu could be now Nai right here. Oh, that is a lot of damage. You still have that Lantern for protection. Has to take it. Oh, no! You don't want a Lantern straight into Graves on the Trundle, or maybe you do actually when it's a 4v1. That's going to be another kill going over to the Zed. 6-0-1 for the jungler out of QUT.
Yeah, UQ is going to have to make some major plays to bring this game back. I'm not seeing much.
So, I have, you're from America.
Yeah.
I'm from America. There's a great game in America called baseball. And Little League Baseball has the thing called the Mercy Rule. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Real? Okay, so it's when a team is up by like 10 runs or whatever, they just like end the game after the 6th inning.
Oh.
I like to redub it as the No Mercy Rule in League of Legends. And I firmly believe if you get 10K of a gold lead before the 20-minute mark, that's when you drop the No Mercy Rule. But you don't just end the game there. What you should do is, as the team, 10K up, show no mercy, send everyone mid and just end the game.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see QUT right now. And maybe hit a home run as well, because we're talking about baseball currently at one of the most Australian events in the country. The Queensland EKKA.
Yeah, fair. I mean,
how do we turn it into a cricket metaphor? Help me with this one.
Oh, I don't know the rules of cricket.
You don't. How long have you been? I have to teach you cricket now.
I've only been here for
Yeah, it's only been like a
years.
year. 3 years?
Yeah, roughly.
Oh, you should know cricket by now. Come on.
COVID hit. Give me a break.
True. But yeah, no. So, as we do see a tower fall, UQ starting to get some momentum back. That tower, though, will come at the cost of the third dragon, and that will mean in about 5 minutes' time, Dragon Soul will be available and up for grabs. As we see more pressure happening on that top side of the map. Look, to go back to the cricket point, I will concede this. Queens is not really a cricket state as much as we are an NRL state. So I guess we could say a 40-point lead at halftime is essentially what we're looking at right now, as we will see a bit of pressure coming down. Graves in trouble, will be the first one to die as Sailofu goes straight for that back line. New Knight's going to try to find that re-engage. Doesn't find the pick at the tail end of it all, however. Sailofu is able to survive. Frosty looking for the death sentence, won't find it. Hazo, however, will find Kasumi. Orin versus Rise would favor a Rise in about 5-10 minutes, but for now, Kasumi wants no part of the giant goat man.
Yeah, I mean, he's owing.
Oh! Hex Slash death sentence into Sanic, and unfortunately, this time Robotnik's gonna win, as Sanic has nowhere to go. Jinx's Fishbone secures the kill.
Yeah. Just the Lulu just by themselves really. Lulu should never really realistically be by themselves. Especially
I have
like.
to agree with that.
I mean,
Supports still need to get wards down. They still need to play that vision game, and when you're still in sort of semblance of a laning phase, I can forgive a Lulu for going to go put down wards. But in that situation, yeah no, Lulu should not.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with their team as fed, you don't want them to be getting these picks.
Yeah. That was a dangerous place for a support to be, because realistically, what was Sanic going to be able to do?
Polymorph.
Gotta go fast. I don't know how. I promise people who are listening, I tried my hardest not to make any Sonic references, but I can only last 2.5 games of League of Legends before they all start to pour out. Like, it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, that's fair. It comes with the name. Like,
it does.
You can't just not make a joke about it.
So, can you explain to me in 3 points why Sanic 2 is the modern day equivalent of Citizen Kane?
Oh.
Because I can't. I don't know.
Yeah. Neither.
As I mentioned before, again, for people who don't know what we're looking at, this is the equivalency of like the Broncos beating the Dragons 40-0 right now. So it's a bit one-sided in favor of the QUT side. They are starting to put more points. Actually, no, more realistically, this is perhaps an equivalent of what New South Wales did to Queensland in the last state of origin. Either way, QUT just continuing to apply the pressure right now, continuing to kind of put UQ down, and we're finally seeing a team look to end a game when they've had that lead.
Yeah, they're actually pushing the towers. They're split pushing. They're splitting UQ up, but it doesn't matter because QUT is strong enough to actually
exactly. And the thing is, when UQ gets split up, that's where Sailofu on the Zed would be able to strike. Speaking of Sailofu, Herald has been dropped. The siege is on with Baron, with Rift Herald. Call of the Forge God will initiate the fight. 3 of them get caught up in it. Glacial Prison's going to try to slow it down, but diving straight for that backline. Sailofu is on a tear, gets a triple kill. The 4th was picked up by the Aphelios instead, so that's why we don't get a Penta. 9x report on Jinx's Fishbone. Either way, though, QUT, they win the fight. They break the base open. With 20 seconds on the clock, QUT is going to win this game.
Yeah, the draft difference. They really had nothing to deal with Zed getting in on their back line, or the fact that like they have the Karma Thresh peeling for the Aphelios, so he just gets free hits all the time.
We'll get those free hits, we'll get those kills, and we'll end this game. That will be QUT winning the Rumble yet again. The rivalry continues to go in their favor, and for UQ, well, they don't have that long to lick their wounds, because guess what? These 2 teams are going to be battling again tomorrow.
Yeah, along with Griffiths as well.
Yeah, Griffith will be joining the fray. It's going to be a lot of fun. But for today, winning this series, QUT wins it out. And I'm just going to make an executive decision. Sailofu, MVP of the series.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh.
And we never pronounced their name correctly.
Fair enough. I mean, just the Z, just 12-0. He really carried, like, he got those picks. He got the leads for his team. They were able to, like, pop off after, like, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we wanted to see, I don't know, I can't speak on your behalf. I wanted to see the carry jungle for a while coming from them because we saw that on the Xin Zhao. We saw that on the Lee Sin. They were great at getting those early game advantages, but then finally, like, I put it on a champion that can take a game over like a Zed can.
Yeah.
I would argue Lee Sin could have done it as well, but Lee Sin was getting banned every game after this one, so we never really got to see it again. Was fantastic stuff. So hats off to QUT, hats off to the University of Queensland as well, because they did put on a strong fight.
They did. They tried their best.
Game 1 was a pretty sweet comeback.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no,
Yeah, they just didn't end on the second game, which was probably...
QUT didn't end on the first game.
Yeah, fair.
Everyone gets one mistake, but it was QUT who learned from it. True. That's going to do it for us here today, though, at the EKKA. We will be back again tomorrow starting around 10:30 for more InterVarsity League of Legends. Will be UQ, you will be QUT, and it will be Griffith joining the fray as well. Not to mention on Sunday, we're going to get some FIFA action. We're going to get some e-racing action through a set of courses. So there's going to be a lot of great events happening here at XP. A big thank you to Computer Alliance and to EPOS as well for providing both the tech that we use as well as the prizes for our teams today. And enjoy the rest of the EKKA, everybody.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Hi, I'm Zoe Rublev with EKKA TV, and today we're at the RNA's prestigious Paddock to Pallet competition at JBS Beef City.
Achievement for us here today. It's a great measure of our genetics and what we're doing there at UQLoL to come here, and this is a very prestigious event for us. We feel it's one of the best in the country, and it's a great thing for us just to see that we're keeping up with other fellow breeders in the country, and it's just good to be measured against them and come out with a win today.
Pegro's been breeding Charolais for over 50 years now, so I guess it's got a long history within the breed. And to me, the Charolais bull, there's no bull within the industry that can make such an impact with a one cross and can do it over any type of cow, whether it's Boss Index or British bred cow. In this situation, we've used the Charolais bull over Charolais and Ultra Black, and it's worked really well for us in the past.
This competition is very important for a lot of the exhibitors and the industry in general. I think what it does do, it gives exhibitors and producers an opportunity to benchmark their cattle against their peers. It gives them an opportunity to benchmark their genetics against their own genetics.
For JBS being part of this competition and major sponsors, it's a really good way for us to promote what we do here. We're very proud of what we do, and it's a great opportunity for our staff to also showcase what they do every day without recognition sometimes, but they're a really important part of the supply chain, and it's a great competition to focus on what they do.
The Raw 100 brand we serve it centred around all around regional Queensland into northern New South Wales. The champion pen judge today, they